Hey, Catherine, how you feeling today?
Hey Asia, how you feeling today?
All right, we are going to challenge you today. We are going to meet those goals that we talked about.
Let's jump right into it and get started. In 3, 2, 1.
You don't need any equipment. We're doing a full body workout. Up, down, and jump. Nice.
Keep that chin down, you're almost there.
Asia, these are looking so controlled, so strong, keep it up.
You got a couple more reps. I want you to put your foot on the gas and keep accelerating. 3, 2, and 1. Great work.
Great job today. I hope you feel like you got a good sweat in.
I will see you next week, same time.
Hello, and welcome to our discussion. I'm Austen Cohen, founder and CEO of FlexIt. FlexIt is a marketing tool for club partners that extends brick-and-mortar reach through in-gym and virtual fitness access. We have spent much of the last year helping clubs deliver personal training through a highly customized platform that is designed to optimize for the remote PT experience. I will moderate our conversation today with a panel of 4 industry experts who represent a broad cross-section of fitness industry participation. I will ask my colleagues to introduce themselves and their companies in a moment, but first I will frame our subject matter. During the pandemic-induced shutdowns of the last year, online training has skyrocketed, offering gyms an additional revenue stream as well as a means of compensating their personal trainers. At the same time, many trainers have discovered that they can generate revenue on their own without brick-and-mortar sponsor. I know from discussions with our panelists that everyone agrees that personal trainers are a critical part of the customer experience and therefore are essential to our industry. So we have some interesting scenarios to work through today. Broadly speaking, our panel will tackle that issue and related ones by working through questions such as the following. What does the future look like from the perspective of both operators and personal trainers? How can operators ensure that they are rewarding the vital members of their training staffs? And what are some key perks for retention? So without further ado, let's turn to our panelists to see what they think. I'll begin by asking each of the panelists to introduce themselves and their companies briefly so that we can see how their affiliations might affect their perspectives. We'll start with Lori.
Thanks, Austin. Hi, everyone. I'm Lori Mccourtney, and I'm president of Ascend Learning's Global Fitness and Wellness Division. The brands I oversee are the National Academy of Sports Medicine, AFA, Premier Global, NASM in the UK, and Club Connect. We are the leading provider of certifications for both personal trainers and group fitness instructors in the world. We've educated over 1.3 million professionals, and we reach trainers and professionals in over 80 countries. We service both the fitness professional as well as health clubs through our Club Connect division. I'm really excited to be here to talk about just the future of fitness. The pandemic has brought a lot of changes and a new focus on really health and wellness, and what can we do as an industry at large and what can we do to better educate our professionals, to better arm them with the right tools for their end consumer, as well as what can we do to help operators thrive in this environment. So thank you for having me here, and I'm excited about the discussion.
Thanks, Lori. Next, we have Rob Beale.
Hey everyone, I'm Rob Beale, and I'm in the UK on the South Coast, and I'm the fitness director for Third Space, and we're a group of high-end premium full-service clubs in London. I've been in the fitness industry for 19 years. This is my 19th year in the industry, and I've spent the vast majority of that time heading up fitness product and strategy for major brands such as David Lloyd Leisure, Holmes Place, Virgin Active, course now Third Space. So particularly focusing on personal training, group exercise, and the overall fitness experience for the member. So really excited to be on the panel. I think I'm the only British person on it, so with my American friends, which is super cool. Looking forward to sharing my experiences and also learning some things as well. So thanks for having me.
Thank you, Rob. A lot of time zones covered here today.
Yeah, it's great.
Next, we have Christy Browning.
Hi, my name is Christy Browning, and I'm the Director of Marketing for Power Systems, a fitness equipment supplier focused on studio, functional, and strength training equipment. Power Systems has been a trusted supplier in the industry for over 35 years, and we are committed to bringing quality products, programs, and services to our customers who range from anywhere from a large global health club chain to franchises to local and regional facilities, personal trainers, and more. I've been with Power Systems since 2015, focused on the marketing strategies to amplify our products that the company brings to market. And most recently, programs to support the health club industry through the pandemic, developing strategies to navigate the global fitness equipment shortage and to help make clubs and trainers become the hero in the story of getting equipment in the hands of their members while figuring out what the hybrid fitness model means to their business. I have a background in exercise physiology and an executive MBA with a focus on international business, which makes the fitness industry an incredibly exciting place to work. I'm very happy to be here today with this group and be a part of the conversation.
Thank you, Christy. Excited to hear your perspective today. And last but definitely not least, Matt Wright.
Hey everyone, Matt Wright. I am currently a partner at a brand new health club being built right across the street from where I live here in Central Jersey called the Fort Athletic Club. We should be opening probably Memorial Day, so we're really looking forward to it. I haven't been busy whatsoever. But prior to taking on this new project, I was the Vice President of Fitness and Programming at City Fitness in Philadelphia. We had 6 clubs, about 18,000 members pre-pandemic, which was a pretty incredible experience, I must say. Prior to that, I spent a little bit of time on the vendor side as the head of community and education at Active Solutions. And prior to that, I'd spent about close to 10 years at Health Tracks Fitness and Wellness as a trainer, training director, and then regional manager as well. Spent a lot of my time doing speaking events, both at the national and international level. And from time to time, I will jump in at a local university and teach as an adjunct professor as well. So really excited to be able to share all that we plan to discuss today. Austen, truly appreciate you putting this group together and being able to share all of this with each and every one of you. So thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks to everyone here today. We really have a great group and going to work through some interesting conversation. So our first question is directed at the entire panel. Through prior conversations, we have all come to agreement that the role of the personal trainer has been critically important in maintaining connection with key stakeholders and keeping business models intact moving forward. Certainly that is the case with FlexIt, where we have built an entire platform around virtual personal training. I'm going to ask each of you to tell us what role the personal trainer has played in responding to challenging and changing business conditions, and whether or not you think that role will be institutionalized as a part of the industry going forward? Let's work backwards here. Matt, why don't you start us off?
All right, more than happy to. It's really just a great question. What I can speak to really was my time at City Fitness, because that's where I was at when everything had shut down. And really, to cut to the chase, I mean, many of us thought that this was going to be maybe a couple week thing where we were shutting down and then returning. So we quickly shifted to delivering sessions online. And then very quickly we realized, this wasn't going to be just sort of this brief hiatus. To tell you the truth, our personal trainers saved us for a long period of time until the PPP money came out. I mean, if you think about it, without our personal trainers and the connections that they've been able to build with our members, I mean, that's some of the strongest bonds that you make. I always bring this up to everyone when I speak, but I strongly feel that the personal trainers and the group exercise or your studio instructors are really the heartbeat and the glue, because they're the people who are really interacting on a daily basis with those members, even if it's just walking by and smiling at them and making them feel good, but also if they're in there sweating with them and being motivated by them. What we've learned is we need to be better at how quickly we shift. But to tell you the truth, I think we realized very quickly how far behind we were in what we needed to be doing from an online and virtual perspective. I mean, I could speak at length, but I'll leave some time here for the panel to be able to jump in. But I really feel as though the quickness of the shutdown really allowed us to identify gaps that we can learn from, which many of the clubs out there and operators and personal trainers have really been able to, learn and then be able to implement so that we can be successful again. And I can assure you, personal training from many clubs that I've already spoken to continues to just grow and grow and grow.
Thanks, Matt. Really insightful. And switching gears slightly, want to hear what Lori has to think.
Sure. Thanks, Austen. And Matt, I absolutely agree. I really think that the personal trainers are, the glue that holds this industry together, and the fitness professionals. It's really that connection with the client and having that personal connection. And one of the things with the pandemic, we had to really pivot ourselves to help our trainers become more flexible in this changing environment. So that included things like we offered a free mental toughness course that we really got a great response to. We actually accelerated our virtual coaching specialization so people could learn how to train, remotely in a really effective way and actually execute against our optimal performance training model in a remote environment. We actually thought about different holistic ways. So now it's not just what people are doing at the gym necessarily, but as we know, that holistic training model. With the pandemic, more people just becoming interested in fitness and wellness overall. So things like our nutrition specialization. But in general, I think it was really being there to listen to the trainers, listen to the operators, ultimately to provide a flexible solution. We talk about the hybrid model so that they can train effectively any client anywhere at any time. So it's really just expanding their toolbox. I absolutely think that virtual training won't go away, but I also think the gyms are here to stay. And it's really how do we create a win-win situation and transform as many lives as possible.
Amen.
And Christy, what do you think?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with both what Matt and Lori have said. At Power Systems, our take on it was that online and digital programming, it's probably been in the product development pipeline for a lot of our customers for quite some time. And the pandemic just put the push on the release date from maybe sometime we'll get to it to we've got to get this out now, regardless of whether we're ready to do this. So that virtual personal training is right there in the mix. And the hybrid fitness model, we feel like, has the opportunity to bring such a positive experience for the member from those membership retention standpoints that everyone's talked about. People want to be as consistent as possible with their workout routines, and being able to train wherever with your trainer is so important. And that's what we believe. We believe that there's a new customer who is committed to fitness. It's kind of what we're calling it. They might have been working out consistently at their club or with their trainer 4 to 5 days a week, and they never wanted to miss their workout. Now they they want to do the same, but the difference is some of those workouts might be in person and some of those workouts might be at home. They still have their membership. They're still having those great positive interactions, but now they've been kind of forced into building that home gym that never was an interest to them before because they wanted that personal interaction. But now they've learned those routines, they've learned those habits, and now they can say, okay, my schedule right now doesn't allow me to physically get to the gym. I'm just gonna have that same session at home. And so that access to fitness is even stronger and their consistency will be even better. So that's why we've been thinking about ways to help the clubs and the trainers get equipment into the hands of their members so that they can have that home experience that's the similar quality that they have it in the brick and mortar.
You bring up some really great points. You use the word wherever, and our slogan here at FlexIt is wherever, whenever. And we're working with clubs both out of the home and then at home to take and extend that brick and mortar reach, bring it into the home so that the consumer has that access regardless of where they are. So really agree with the way that you and Power Systems are looking at things. Switching gears back to the operator's perspective, Rob, how do you make sense of everything that the others have shared so far? And what's your perspective here?
Yeah, but the great thing about going last in a question like this is you can just pick off the best ideas that everyone else has said. So it's some really great stuff there. And the word bricks and mortar came through a lot. And clearly since the pandemic hit, there's been more progress in 12 months on, let's call it digital fitness, than there's been in like 12 years, right? So, and that has been important because clearly members haven't been able to come into our bricks and mortar facilities. It was also necessary anyway, because there's this idea of we want to be able to connect with members in the club and out of the club and provide an ecosystem that makes it really easy for the members to engage with our brands as operators and engage with the people at the center of our brands. And I agree with everyone that those people are our group exercise instructors and our personal trainers. They are the ones providing the experiences, be that in one-to-one personal training, in our group exercise program. They're the ones that provide the experiences that connect the members to the club and keep the members coming back and keep the members coming in through the door. So even though if you like, the advancement of digital fitness, virtual training has been key, but for me, when the club's opening in the UK, it's April the 12th. It's really about that bricks and mortar experience. I believe we're going to see a big drive for our members to want to connect again, live, in groups, in clubs, not working out in the front of rooms with whatever dumbbells and kettlebells they've got, trying to get into the facility and engage. So for me, it's mostly about being ready for that and giving the best service. And again, just linking back to your initial question, Austen, that is fundamentally about the experience our personal trainers and our Group X teams provide. So they've been critical during the pandemic because they've been our, if you like, our vehicle for connecting to our members. And they're going to be just as critical when they come back. And I know later we're going to kind of discuss maybe some of the challenges with that. But yeah, for me, it's huge. That's where it's at.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you to all panelists. Lori, here's one specifically for you.
Mm-hmm.
Has your business seen a greater demand for training and certification for virtual as a result of the lockdown? Presuming yes, how has that affected what you guys are doing, your market, and has that been positive, negative, or both?
Thanks, Austen. Yeah, that's a great question. 2020 for us, actually, for all certifications, it was a very strong year. We certified more fitness professionals than ever before, and an opportunity to really reach out to even a broader market where, lots of individuals who had been furloughed, who had not historically been in the fitness industry, with COVID actually raised awareness for that and wanted to potentially think about, is this another career for me? And so we saw a lot of new entrants, which was exciting to see. But in terms of virtual training, huge need for virtual training. As I mentioned earlier, we accelerated the development of that course. We actually offered free mini modules for it as well to get people sort of into it and understand it. And it became something that used to be sort of a nice to have to a must have. So I think there's a lot of positive aspects about that. We also, now the negative side of things, which I think is really important, is it is our duty as an industry to provide the very best education for the actual end consumer so that they have qualified fitness professionals working with them. Now, what the virtual world does is, historically through brick and mortar, operators do a great job of vetting those trainers and working to have the very best staff. Now we all know, right? People can go on Zoom or you can go on wherever it might be, YouTube. And so it's really making sure that we keep that level of sort of professionalism and qualified trainers in that ecosystem for the end consumer. So I wouldn't say it's necessarily a negative. It's just something that we as an industry, I think, all have to be focused on and educating that end consumer. We also have seen a big awareness in things like mental health, nutrition certifications are all significantly increasing. And actually, oddly, our corrective exercise, which is really injury prevention, has really seen an uptick because COVID is, a lot of people are at home, not able to move or on Zoom calls all day, and sort of really how do our personal trainers work with people to prevent injury, and also with, post-COVID clients as well. So it's an exciting, interesting, and dynamic time. But I think really our goal is to listen and provide the best education that we can for the professionals and for the industry.
Thank you, Lori. Really insightful. You have a very unique perspective. So looking forward to hearing more later on. Christy, same general area. In what ways are you seeing the rise of online training affecting the power systems business? Further to everything that you've already shared, can you expand on how shipments of equipment are changing? Type of equipment that's being requested? How have relationships with trainers changed?
Yeah, so the rise of virtual personal training or digital programming has definitely brought a lot of growth in our business, but like everyone is saying, without growth, there is challenges. As everyone knows, the global fitness equipment shortage is real and it is not going away anytime soon. If you, over the past year, have even thought about adding a dumbbell or a kettlebell to an order, you know exactly what I'm talking about. What used to be immediate availability is now 3-month back orders or longer, which is really challenging for us to provide that great service to our customers. And really the next 12 to 18 months, we're going to continue to have these supply chain challenges. That's why we want to talk to our customers and our clients, the owner operators, the personal trainers. And if you're going to be launching a program digitally or in brick and mortar, like, let's have the conversation. We're the expert in the product, but we're also an expert in providing insights and on availability and when you can get that product. So we can kind of take your programming and give you inventory levels. We can give you volume that's coming in so that you can provide a really great experience when you say, hey, purchase this equipment from Power Systems for your home gym so that you can take advantage of this great programming that we're offering, or as you're setting up your home gym. We've definitely developed stronger relationships through the pandemic because of this with our customers, and we hope that continues.
Thanks, Christy. Rob and Matt, of course, don't want to leave either of you out of the conversation here. Matt, do you want to weigh in?
No, I think they both really hit it, to tell you the truth. I don't really have anything to add.
Yeah, sure, from a UK perspective, I know a lot of the training providers in the UK. I kind of teach in PTs how to deliver Zoom sessions, because you kind of, as a personal trainer, you might just presume, well, if I can deliver a one-to-one face-to-face session, then a Zoom session is easy, or whatever the mechanism is. But there are some key differences. You can't use touch as an example when you're coaching the client through the session. So certainly at Third Space, we spent time putting our personal trainers that were delivering Zoom PT sessions through our app, through training on particularly how to set up the environment. So everything from, might sound basic stuff, but the microphone, you kind of, if you want to see where your client's got to be, and kind of teaching them through that, and then coaching them on how to coach their client in a different way, given they weren't able to use touch and some of the other things. So yes, it's interesting how personal trainers have had to adapt, and how clearly really good educators out there have then had to adapt what education they provide. So I think everyone stepped up to the plate really well, frankly.
It's actually fantastic to hear that you guys are putting energy into helping the trainers, coaching them through virtual presence. Virtual presence is a real thing. The way that the trainer fits in the screen, the energy that trainer emanates is important, and definitely has a strong impact on the experience it's delivered to the end consumer. So it's great to hear that that's something that you guys are mindful of, and hopefully others can become increasingly mindful of as virtual training continues to grow. I'm going to switch gears a little bit here now. I'll start this next question with one of the operators on our panel, and then we'll ask Lori and Christy to share their views. So Rob, let's start with you again. What steps are you taking to cultivate, develop, retain the outstanding personal trainers that you have so that they're available once your business returns to a more normal state?
Okay, so I mean, briefly, in the UK, there's broadly three models for personal training. One's a rental model, another is a 3 hours model where the personal trainer gives them 3 hours, and in return they're able to, if you like, take the revenues for whatever personal training they do. And then there's a group of mostly premium brands like ourselves that employ all of our personal trainers. And obviously, because we're employing all of our personal trainers, we're able to do a lot more for them, both legally, but also it kind of makes more business sense. So we have in-house education at CPD accredited. We have our own training campus, our own training academy with a full-time head of education and education coordinators. And there's kind of like a 2-year program that all of our personal trainers need to go through when they join Third Space. It's like a modular program with some specialities in there as they go through it. So the challenge when the pandemic hit was, well, how do we kind of keep that going virtually, so that A, our personal trainers are engaged with the brand, but B, also they don't lose their skill set, and they kind of keep on top of their anatomy and physiology, their programming, learn some new skills, maybe around nutrition. So what we've done every Monday morning and Wednesday morning is we've run virtual training through a WebEx platform. So the series we're in at the moment, actually, unfortunately for our personal trainers, it's me delivering the education at the moment, because it's all around client behavior change and coaching and kind of NLP practices of how you can get your clients to put new habits in. So at the moment we're in a block of that series. And as we come out of that, we go into a kind of like an advanced programming and nutrition series. So that's been, I think, fantastic for them, because A, they're able to connect with each other, virtually, and ask questions, and we do breakout rooms, and of course they're getting the if you like, the knowledge at the same time. So that's been huge for us. The other thing which has clearly been really important to anyone, not just personal trainers, is that we've just, we've not just paid, if you like, the minimum furlough, we've topped everyone up. So everyone feels, hopefully anyway, that we've done everything we can for them. And then when we have come back for little periods, we've kind of really looked after our personal trainers financially to ease them back in. Now, that's come at a cost to the business, but we believe that will be paid back by, if you like, the loyalty our personal trainers will show to the brand, and then of course the knock-on effect that has to our members and member retention and all of those other things that we all know.
Thank you, Rob. Matt, anything to weigh in there with?
No, I mean, Rob's spot on for sure. I agree with so much of what you and the team are doing there. For me and my experience in my past, and what I plan to be doing as we start hiring people, is I think we really have to look at the career path of the personal trainer and understand what that is. I think so often we fall into the trap of like, they're a trainer, and then the really good trainer becomes a fitness manager. And then I remember one of my first managers saying to me like, oh, well, after fitness manager, you become a general manager or a sales manager. And I'm thinking to myself, that sucks. because that's the last thing that I want to do. And it is not in line with anything for my own professional goals. So just being able to ask them, like, what does your career path look like? Are you going to be a career personal trainer? Do you want to become into fitness management? Or is there something else that you'd like to do in the industry? As somebody who's been presenting now for the past 4 or 5 years, I often have trainers ask me about getting involved with, other organizations, being able to go to IRSA or IDEA, connect with the NASM people as far as the certifications that they offer, or their conference, et cetera. So I think that's the first thing, is you have to have your conversations with your people and then be able to put them down each track. Then hands down, everything educational, I'm going to go on the other side, is not just the PT side of education. We talked about teaching them some of the virtual skills, but like, what about communication skills? What about teaching them how to send a text message, how to write an appropriate email? Like, when do you send a text message to a potential new client or somebody who just enrolled with you? What type of subject matter should be sent via an email? And then, oh my gosh, we still have these things called cell phones where you can call people on them. We got to get back to the basics. Like, we can't expect to be like, oh, technology. Technology is awesome, and it's helped us tremendously, and it's going to continue to get better and better. But if we don't do A, B, and C really well, X, Y, and Z is going to be mediocre at best. So that's, in my opinion, where I really feel like we need to take this time for personal trainers. Any club operator out there who, if you didn't take advantage of the opportunity of whatever potential shutdown or closure you had, it's not too late. Don't getting back to what we were doing, or, oh, our old numbers. They're old numbers. Like, I don't know. I want to pull my hair out every time I hear somebody say, I want to get back to where we were. It's gone. You're going to set new targets, set new goals, reach those new goals. So, obviously you can tell that it's a subject that I'm very passionate about, but I think it has to be about the personal trainer and getting more granular in the conversations with them, because it's not what you think they need to be doing. It's what they want. And you really need to be listening to them and working for them and with them, as compared to speaking at them. The only other major piece that I want to say to all of this is, from an employer perspective, we have to stop failing our trainers at the way that we're compensating them and providing benefits for them. The models, whether it's the independent contractor model or like the, hey, come work floor time, it's just not fair. We're losing really, really great trainers out there because they can't financially stay stable with us in our brick and mortar clubs. And it's why so many people realize, like, hey, I'm going to go try to do this on my own. However, at some point, it's going to be very, very difficult to be able to sustain that business. So thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Thanks, Matt. Don't pull your hair out.
I've worked hard for this.
We are clicking away here, and when that happens, time flies by. So before we close out in a little bit, I want to ask the panel to share some views on the future. And we've heard a little bit about their perspective throughout our conversation today, but want to get a better feel for what they think the future is going to hold. So it's generally agreed that there will be an end to the pandemic that has taken over the last 12 months. But the big questions are when and how this will change the future landscape of our industry. I'm going to ask each of you to answer and briefly tell us. And if you want to share your views on current trends, such as wellness programs, nutrition services, and again, the hybrid model that we've referenced a few times throughout today's conversation, that's fine as well. I encourage all of you to think broadly here. I encourage all of you to think through questions such as, will everyone return to working in offices, or will the trend of working from home remain popular, thus boosting prospects for virtual training? And will people who crave companionship and community return to their favorite gyms once the lockdowns are lifted? And lastly here, when do you all expect whatever this is to be a prior state and for us to have fully entered this newer world? So let's start again here with the operator's perspective. Rob, why don't you kick us off?
Wow, this time I've got to lead it. Right, let's hope I say something sensible. Now, it's look, there's clearly some threats, right? So we're in the UK, we're about 6-7 weeks away from the gyms opening, and then in another 4 weeks, the group exercise is allowed to happen. So it's almost like this phased bit, and then a 3-4 month loosening of restrictions, depending on how everything goes. So in any case, there's an element of building back up the membership, which clearly in turn feeds the personal trainers, because without members, it's difficult for personal trainers to be busy. And then the other thing you mentioned, which I think is really important, is certainly for Third Space, our clubs are in central London. And although we do have residents, most of our members are workers. So they're commuting into the city to work. So, if there's certain industries not open, like pubs and restaurants, for example, which are opening after April 12th, then that means there's less of our members in our club. So those are, if you like, some just threats that are definitely going to happen. And then what we're also seeing is this kind of split of, right, well, my workers used to work 5 days a week from the office, and now for the rest of this year, maybe even next year, maybe even forever, it's going to be like 4 days and 1 or 3 days and 2. So, I believe we are going to see that happen in cities. I think we've all experienced that some of the work we used to do in the workplace we can do at home, and I don't see that maybe going back to how it was, and I don't think it's necessary. So those are some threats, but the opportunities clearly are that everyone is like really tired of the pandemic and is desperate to get back to the gym, and it's like could be the biggest fitness boom we've ever seen. And a couple of the other guys on the panel have mentioned this, is that because of the pandemic, more than ever before, people now realize that being healthy and not overweight is a very good thing to be in terms of being healthy. So I think we're going to see that. So that there's some huge opportunities. A lot of our personal trainers in this period have accelerated their learning. They found more time to educate themselves, be that on nutrition, on behavior change, on virtual skills. So overall, I'm really positive about the opportunity. But as operators, we're going to have to work hard to connect back with our trainers and empower them to run their businesses in our clubs, not a bit in our clubs and then a bit outside, because as operators, we clearly want trainers that are committed to, if you like, our members and our brand, rather than, like a 50-50 hybrid trainer that does some sessions in a club and some sessions you kind of virtually. So it's I think it's about creating an ecosystem for them.
Thank you there. And Matt, from the operator's perspective.
Personal training is going to boom. The gym memberships are going to boom. Virtual fitness is going to continue to boom. I'm telling you, I mean, mark my words, everybody who's on the call, you can say, he said it, it must have happened. It's not just me, it's everybody out there, to tell you the truth, except some of the people who are making big dollars in tech. But what I want to say is this hybrid model is here to stay. A session in the club is a session virtual, and we need solutions like FlexIt is a perfect example for us to be able to implement what they do into our business models, because you're only going to fall behind if you don't do it, and you can't expect that everyone is going to be ready to return. I mentioned earlier about making sure that you meet your PTs where they're at. You need to do the same thing with their members. An easy scale that we followed in my prior was, we would rate people as a 1 through a 5. 1 was no shot, that they're going to be coming back right now. To 3 was they seem like they're on the fence. To a 5 is they're definitely returning. So take that sort of micro approach with each and every one of your members. Look at the data that you have through, your member management systems. Then start trying to get, through really strong communications. Send the email, send the texts, shoot surveys to people, make them feel really, really good. But there's not a doubt in my mind it's going to continue to grow and it's going to flourish. So if it hasn't happened as quickly as you'd hoped it would, it's okay. Don't let that deter you from continuing to evaluate everything that you're doing, because I can assure you, you will be very successful.
Thanks, Matt. As we're coming down to the wire here, Christy, what do you think?
Yeah, just real quickly, like I mentioned at the beginning of the panel, our goal at Power Systems is truly to help the owner operator be the hero in the story as hybrid fitness becomes more and more of the everyday part of the brick and mortar story. So we've developed an affiliate program for that owners and operators can bring as an incentive or a perk for their personal trainers to help balance out their revenue stream. So maybe this is something that an owner operator can bring its value to their personal trainers and helping getting the equipment in the hands of their members so that they can train at home and in the gym as their lifestyle has changed or their work commuting situation has changed. So, that's something that you can talk to Power Systems about and how we can partner with you to make sure that you keep those long lasting, strong membership retention customers that everybody's talking about.
And Lori, we're giving you the last word before we take things home.
Sure, thank you. I agree with what's been said. I'm thinking, I'm very excited in the way that it's really going to create a new paradigm for health and wellness after the pandemic. But as Matt said earlier, I think things have changed. And so what I see is an opportunity for the industry to really up its game, from the operators to think through what is the best possible membership model? What is the best ways to retain my key personal trainers and employees to really look to what their careers can be? On the education side, how do we arm our professionals with the best toolbox to be responsive, to be flexible, and ultimately really just transform as many lives as possible through health and wellness? I think it's given us all just time to pause and think about how can we get out there stronger, better, and really just create a wonderful, long-term position in health and wellness overall.
I want to thank all of today's panelists for sharing their time, insights, and expertise. We could definitely go on for another hour here, but we have to move on. Appreciate everyone's time again. I can tell you from experience that all of today's panelists are knowledgeable, kind, and generous with their ideas and information. This is Austen Cohen from FlexIt signing off. Thanks for joining us.